have had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. We sure have had a lot of activity up here in the northern half of the state. A lot of that is because we had beautiful weather this weekend, and who wouldn't want to come up over Thanksgiving or any of the holiday weekends to spend time with your family. Now, today's video, I've had a lot of questions just the last 4 days on, oh, I'm looking for a cabin. Should I buy one? Should I build one? What would the cost be? And because of that, I thought, oh, why don't I do a video and kind of walk you through what the cost might be to build your own family cabin versus to buy something that exists already. And so I'm going to say, let's talk about doing an off-grid cabin. And I'm going to use one that I have listed at Stoneman Lake for sale right now for $399,000. This one is about 1,450 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a detached garage on 1 acre overlooking Stoneman Lake. Now, before I continue, I want you to know Stoneman Lake is dry right now. 20 years ago, there was water in Stoneman Lake all the time, but we've had a long drought. And in the spring, you'll see water in Stoneman Lake, but often later in the summer, often in general, Stoneman Lake is dry, so I keep that in mind. But Stoneman Lake is off-grid, but what it has going for it is there is a private water company that supplies the residents there for less than $130 a year. You have all the water you can drink, and it's very good tasting water. But again, I'm using Stoneman Lake as an example because it's mostly off-grid, and I've sold 3 properties there in the last 2 years, and I have this 3rd one listed, which is going to be my control group cabin. So say you want to build a cabin similar to this one that's 1,400 square foot, 1,450 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath, detached garage. I'm going to walk you through what it might cost you. Now, just 2 days ago, I was in Cornville. We were talking about price to build property in Cornville. I got a quote of $250 to $275 a square foot. 2 years ago, I was using the example of $200 a square foot, but building costs have gone up quite a bit. So I'm going to be conservative right now. I'm going to say we're building a cabin at 1,450 square foot. I'm going to say it's cost us $250 a square foot for a contractor to build that. Puts you at $362,000 just to build that without the lot. Now, I'm using Stoneman Lake because I know of 2 1-acre lots that could be listed in less than a month that are 1 acre close to the lake. And I'm going to recommend they list at $65,000 to $75,000 each. So let's add the cost of a lot. $65,000 to that. If we are at Stoneman Lake, we're going to need solar panels. Now, the place I have listed that I'm using as a control group cabin, recently, meaning 2 years ago, my sellers put in a brand new state-of-the-art solar panel system with really high wattage. That cost them about $27,000, and if you want to add the brand new batteries that they just put in, $2,000, and maybe you want a backup generator. So let's add to that another $30,000 for power. Now, if you're off-grid truly, you're going to probably need to dig a well or drill a well. I'll admit I don't know that much about wells, except that I have to have them inspected when I sell a house with the well. Okay, so now say you've budgeted that. You're budgeting $510,000 to build your brand new dream cabin in an off-grid place, which would be Stoneman Lake, Lake Mary, or out by the Flagstaff Ski Resort. In that area, there's a lot of off-grid homes as well. So you would be budgeting $510,000. So now to start your project, you have to buy the lot, right? Most people will have to borrow money to do such a project. And what they would need is a construction loan. Now, back in the spring, I sold a beautiful lot in Flagstaff where the buyers were doing a brand new project. So they got a construction loan. That loan took us more than 3 months to close because the lenders are, man, they drag their feet, take their time, and they also need a lot of information. A little bit harder to secure a construction loan, but we did close in 3 months. Now, another thing you'll have to realize is a construction loan is going to cost you higher in interest. And once the building project is done, you usually do it in increments where you withdraw a certain amount to pay each stage of construction, but it's going to cost you more, and at the end you're going to have to pay off that loan once your project is finished with a traditional loan, and you want to think about the cost of doing that loan. So that actually is a very nice idea, but also not only 3 months to close the lot, you're going to probably take another 9 months to do the job. And you're going to have to be out there talking to your contractor, making sure they don't screw anything up, because they often will. But let's budget a year on a time frame to do this project. Now, again, I'm being conservative. You could do something less than that. You could do it in 6 months, and if you're just buying the lot for cash, you can close in 2 weeks to 30 days. So a 1 year project is conservative. So now I'm going to go back, and we're going to say, what would it cost me to just buy a nice cabin in an off-grid area? And I'm again going to use Stoneman Lake for an example because I'm familiar with it and it's somewhat off-grid. And last year, within the last 8 months or so, 2 cabins sold at Stoneman Lake. Now, one of them I listed myself, so I could tell you a lot about this cabin. And there was another one that a colleague of mine sold. Both of these were smaller cabins, 2 bed, 2 bath. Both of them were on less than an acre. And let me tell you, the one that I did not sell myself, I showed that many times. I actually showed it 2 years ago about 6 times. Nobody wanted to, that's too much work, I can't do it. But a flipper came in and bought it for about $159,000 and sold it a year later for $285,000. So if you want your place to look beautiful inside, which this place, man, they did an amazing job. It looked incredible inside. Again, that might have even been a 1-bed loft, 1 bath. Still needed a couple things though. It had a deck that could use resurfacing. It did not have a garage, and the lot size was smaller. It was maybe just over half an acre, and it did not overlook the lake. Now, again, anything in Stoneman or off-grid up here in northern Arizona is going to have a nice view to look at. You got ponderosa pine, you have animals going through, but it did not have a view of the lake. So that one sold for $307 a square foot. Again, it was slightly under 1,000 square feet. The other one, the one I listed myself and sold, that one sold for about $301 a square foot. Again, a 2-bed, actually a 1-bed, 1-bath, just over 1,000 square foot. This one did have a garage. It had a couple other things going for it. Larger lot, almost a full acre. It had a natural spring coming off the property, so having that beautiful little water trickling down gave it a great ambience, and the fact that that's a little stream on your property is really nice. It did have a deck, but the deck needed resurfacing. Again, that one, for comparison's sake, $301 square foot. The other one that was flipped, $307 a square foot. Okay, so say you did the 1,450 square foot cabin, which would be similar to the one I have listed for sale, and you multiplied that by $302 a square foot, which is about what they're going for up there. You would be paying about $438,000 for, you know, a basic cabin with a nice view. Let's say the one I have listed it definitely needs a new roof. We have a quote for that. So say the seller would be willing to credit you $15,000 for a new roof for a place like that. That would put you at $423,000. And then a couple of other things. The place I have listed, for instance, needs a paint job. It needs a deck resurface where they'd have to sand down the deck, take any rotted wood and replace that. I'm getting quotes for that right now, but let's say conservative of $15,000. So let's subtract $15,000 again for the deck resurface paint job. In addition to the $15,000 we subtracted for a new roof that I have a physical quote for. That would still put you at $408,000 to buy a cabin like this at Stoneman Lake. If you could get a cabin, what I'm saying, for $408,000 that met those criteria, you'd be getting a decent family cabin where you could come up on your own with your grandma, with your mom, your sister, your kids, your grandkids, and have beautiful memories to be making from now on. Now, say you're like, I don't need off-grid, or I want to be closer to Flagstaff. You can buy a nice place in Flagstaff, Mountain Air, Mormon Lake, Kachina Village, in that price range. But let me tell you what you're going to get at Muntz Park right now. I love Muntz Park. That was one of the places I was hoping to move to when I downsized, when I sold my Mormon Lake place that was on an acre and a 3-bed, 2-bath loft garage. I had sold that a year ago thinking I would buy a place in Wentz Park, but the prices went up so quickly, so fast, I wasn't able to do that. But if you wanted to buy in Wentz Park right now for the $350 to $400 range, what you could get is a double wide mobile home on a 5,000 square foot lot in the center of Wentz Park. Wentz Park does have a sewer system, and it does have water supply and electric. So that is a nice feature of Wentz Park, although it's gotten very crowded. Again, the mobile homes on their own land are about 5,000 square foot, so that's about the lot. 50 by 100 size lot, a double wide mobile home built after 1976. Now the key when you're buying a manufactured home or a mobile home is that it needs to be built after June 15th, 1976, and it needs to be a double wide, and then you have a nice place that you could have that you'll get a traditional loan for. Now it doesn't matter if you're cash buyer, say, if you buy a single wide or something built prior to 76, you can pay cash for that, or you can get a loan, but it's going to cost you more. I'm going to have to give you one of my special lenders. It will cost you 6 to 8% interest right now to buy something pre-76 or smaller than a double wide. So this is by comparison standards. I see 2 of them right now listed, or maybe 3 in Wentz Park that meet that criteria. Double wide on its own land, built after 76 for $350 or $399. I see the 2 of them there. Okay, now if you were looking to go to Mountain Air or Kachina Village, I see a couple places listed there for between $350,000 and $400,000, but those are, again, looks like they're 2-bedroom, 1 bath. A couple of those 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and in Central Flagstaff, I see a couple of those listed. They are really beat up though in that price range. Also, when we're talking double wide mobile homes, there are some of them in West Sedona. If you're looking for a vacation home, but you don't want to be so far out in the woods, there was one I showed last week in West Sedona. Now, it was a double wide on its own lot, but it was built prior to 76. So you're going to have to get one of my lenders I call Loan Sharks or us. 6 to 8% interest, but it does have, what it had going for it is it's right in Harmony Hills, close to the Red Rocks. Beautiful location, and it was very nicely done. Beautiful lot, maybe a 7,000 square foot lot in West Sedona. That property was listed at $412,000, and it went under contract in less than a week. So if you were looking for something like that for a second home or your primary residence, so that's just for comparison's sake. Do you want to buy a cabin? Do you want to be off-grid? Do you want to build it yourself? Do you want to buy a slightly distressed one and fix it up? Do you want to buy something that's been flipped already? Those are your options. I hope this helps if you're trying to decide, do I want to buy a cabin? Do I want to build a cabin? Do I want to wait next year and see if prices are the same? But I hope this helps you in your decision. Now, I am a cabin specialist. I'm certified resort second property specialist. I do sell a lot of these cabins, so if you have a question about it, go ahead and give me a call, a text, an email. I put all of my contact information below. My name's Dawn Dickenson. I sell real estate here in northern Arizona, Sedona, Verde Valley, and the cabin towns near Flagstaff, but the channel, my YouTube channel, is Living in Northern Arizona. I post every single week a brand new video about some topic relating to living in Arizona, and more specifically Northern Arizona. So if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. I'd love it if you subscribe, and I hope to see you back here again next week.